Right.
To deny people their human rights is to challenge their very humanity, said Nelson Mandela. Good evening to everyone present here. I am Anaha Anilesh, fourth year law student of University Law College, Bangalore University. I would like to express my humble honor to be the master of ceremony for University Law College's celebration of Human Rights Day. At the outset, I would like to extend my humble salutations to our distinguished guests, our honorable guests, faculty members of University Law College and Department of Studies in Law, and a warm greeting to all our participants present here.
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
like to invite I would like to invite Namrata MN, student of first year BA LLB honors, to begin this celebration by the invocation song.
Am I audible?
Yeah, please. Okay.
महागणपतिं महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि वसिष्ठवामदेवादिवन्दित महागणपतिं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं मारकोटि प्रकाशं शान्तं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं कोटि प्रकाशं शान्तं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियम् महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूषिकवाहनमोदकप्रियं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूषिकवाहनमोदकप्रियं महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि वसिष्ठवामदेवादिवन्दित वसिष्ठवामदेवादिवन्दित महागणपतिम्
Thank you, Namrata. Now I request our beloved principal of University Law College, Bangalore University, Professor Dr. Suresh V. Nadagada, to render the welcome address.
Thank you, Anaha. At the outset, I wish you all a happy Human Rights Day today. Respected guests gracing the program, Honorable Justice Subhash Biadi, Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor K.R. Venugopal sir, my esteemed colleagues, Principal Mallikarjunaya, participants, invitees, ladies and gentlemen. I wish to place before you that the celebration of Human Rights Day has a special significance this year as we need to re-pledge our commitment to protect the human rights of all the concerned during this pandemic, as the human rights of many citizens across the globe are at stake due to loss of employment, livelihood, trade and business, non-availability of timely healthcare, deprivation of education, etc., and to champion the cause of human rights. In this context, the observation of former UN Deputy General Secretary Jan Ellison is worth remembering. I quote, "There can be no peace without development, no development without peace, and no lasting peace or sustainable development without respect for human rights and rule of law." Ladies and gentlemen, on this occasion, we are really very proud and fortunate to have Honorable Justice Subhash B. Adi, who has been kind enough to accept our invitation to be the chief guest of the program and address us on this occasion. His Lordship, apart from being a great human being, is well known for his legal acumen and humility. As a judge and Upalokayukta, he has championed the cause of human rights. Presently, as a chairman of NGT, State Committee of Karnataka State Pollution Control Board, he is playing a pivotal role in protection of environment. as pollution-free environment is an important human right. He is a great well-wisher of our law college and all of us. I, on behalf of Bangalore University Law College, extend you a very warm and cordial welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We have our own Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor K.R. Venugopal, who has kindly consented to preside over this program. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor K.R. Venugopal, sir, needs no introduction. He is a conglomeration of academic and administrative excellence, who has published more than 900 papers, research papers in reputed national and international journals, published more than 70 books, and he has more than 10 patents to his credits. And indeed, he is the source of inspiration for all of us in University Law College in the Bangalore University to conduct series of programs. He has kept the whole university, all the departments and faculty very active throughout the pandemic. And in fact, he has been the raison d'etre for organization of the International Science Fiction Conference involving all 59 departments of the Bangalore University, which is first of its kind, and it is a historic event which has been concluded yesterday very successfully. So I take this opportunity to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor and also extend him a very warm and cordial welcome to this program on behalf of University Law College and all the concerned.
Namaste to all of you.
Hearty welcome, sir. I extend a warm welcome to the President and all members of our Alumni Association who have been very actively assisting or helping the University Law College in all its endeavors. We have on this occasion Professor Mallikarjunaiah, Principal, KLE Law College, Bangalore, and many other principals of the law colleges and faculty members of different law colleges throughout the Karnataka, and other faculty members. I extend all of them a very warm and cordial welcome. I also welcome all our esteemed colleagues, Professor V. Sudesh, former Principal and Chairman, Dean, and Professor Dr. N. Dashrath, Chairman and Dean Faculty of Law, Dr. N. Satish Gowda, Faculty, Dr. Jyoti Vishwanath, Dr. Chandrakanti, and all our guest faculty members, all the invitees and our all student friends. Once again, I extend you all a very warm and cordial welcome to this program. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir, for extending a warm welcome to our guests and participants for today. Before we begin, any questions to our chief guest can be posted to me, Anaha Anilesh, on the chat box. We will take it up in the question and answer segment. Today we celebrate Human Rights Day, the anniversary of one of the greatest accomplishments of this century. On December 10th, 1948, after 2 years of debates, discussions, and deliberations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted. It proclaims a simple, powerful idea: all humans are born free in dignity and rights. 2020's theme of Human Rights Day is to recover better, stand up for human rights. I take this proud privilege to introduce our chief guest, Honorable Justice Subhash B. Adi. Sir hails from Belgaum district, Karnataka. He obtained his law degree from GSS Law College, Hubli, and enrolled as an advocate in 1978. He assumed charge as the Honorable Judge of the High Court of Karnataka on January 2006 and is appointed as the permanent judge of the High Court of Karnataka in 2007. Sir's penchant for hard work, meticulous preparation enabled him to gain sound knowledge of law, men, and material. Sir assumed the charge as the judge of Karnataka Upayukta in 2013. Sir is the chairman of the National Green Tribunal State Level Committee and Karnataka State Pollution Control Board. Sir, we are eager to hear from you. I would request you to kindly take over.
Thank you, Vinay. Thank you very much. Respected Vice Chancellor K.R. Venugopal, Professor Suresh Nadagoda, my dear friend, Professor Dr. N. Dashrath, Professor Dr. Sudesh, Dr. Mallikarjun, my dear students. What a wonderful day is chosen today. the International Human Rights Day, or you call it Universal Human Rights Day, and how important from the point of the legal studies and law students and the judiciary. If you look back, the contribution made by the Indian judiciary, contribution made by the lawyers in the freedom fight, and so many. But before that, we should understand what is this Human Rights Day, and why this Human Rights Day is celebrated, how it started. Even in Vedic science, there was equality for water, food, everything. There was no caste system, there was no religious system. Even in 18th century, the natural rights of a human being were recognized. But the 20th century beginning saw a big wars, First World War and Second World War, which resulted in killing millions of people, making millions of destitutes, millions of women were raped, millions of children became orphaned. There was no importance for the human life in Second World War. This opened the eyes of the leaders of the world who came forward and formed an United Assembly, United Nation Organization, UNO, in 1945. But that was not enough. That hard study, as it was put by their student, that hard 2-year study, they brought human rights resolution in 1948, the 17th resolution, for a better living of every human being on the globe. Now, in the pandemic of COVID-19, and in these circumstances, what is the importance of human rights and how important it is? Now, the World War, the man-made World War, resulted in formation of UNO. Today, it is not. It is a virus. It is a virus which is controlling the whole world. And you cannot discriminate between the one nation and another nation. Today, the whole world needs to fight against this virus. And you have all remember, we are confined in our house. We have been denied our human rights. We have been constrained to deny ourselves such rights because not constrained by any state or by any person, but it is own because of the virus which never expected, never even known. And scientists are struggling hard to get a solution for that by vaccine, and that research is going on. Nevertheless, in the first resolution of 207,
Sir, sorry for interruption, sir. Mute agide tamdu, unmute ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Yes, sir.
Right to everyone. Now, 30 articles, if you look at, I don't elaborate on those things, but 30 articles, if you look at it, they contain every natural right of a person. Every human being has a right to live on the earth, recognizing all these circumstances. Now, the UNO by itself cannot.
Sir, you are on mute again, sir.
Sir, please unmute, sir. Unmute, sir. Yes, sir. Again mute. Yes.
If you take the 6 wings of the United Nations, they are all working on a different field. But today, despite all these things, we have to recollect what is that is happening. Despite the peace and justice was the theme of the 1945 UNO. Then thereafter, the human being, protection of human rights, dignity, every life and liberty, education, health, the right of movement, right of freedom of speech, everything is conferred. But from that angle, even today, the one article I read about the International Court of Justice, when the Second World War was the subject matter of the proceedings, I don't recollect the name of an Indian judge who participated in the International Court of Justice, who saved the millions of people to be educated from Japan. And Japan celebrates this day, particularly in the last week back, they celebrated the person's name who is the cause for saving the several lives. Now, there are all these wings, really they are justifying, or they are serving the purpose for which the organization has been formed, and its theme is really, no, not. There are climate change issues are going on, the war, peace is going on. There are other issues of humanity, developed, undeveloped countries, and
Sir, please unmute, sir.
ಸರ್ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು.
Sir, unmute yourself, sir.
Unmute, sir. Sir, please unmute, sir. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ವಿನಯ್.
Yes, sir.
ಒಂದು ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಕೊಡಿ.
has taken it very seriously relating to the crisis of COVID-19. It has taken the importance of saving lives, protecting the society, recovery better. For this, they have the Recovery Trust Fund, which is contribution made by the other countries and all the countries and voluntarily. But the roadmap for socio-economic recovery from the COVID-19. Today, every country is suffering. Every person is suffering from the economic loss, social loss, and other all resulted because of the pandemic. Pandemic is not confined to any geographical boundary. It is not even confined to any country or any person. It spreads like any jet plane, it moving from one place to another. Now, this is the situation in which the UNO needs to address all this. Now, UNO health is concerned. It is repeatedly taking, World Health Organization is repeatedly giving the information, taking the developments and the virus's movements and its Now, in these circumstances, what is important is that all the countries need to address this global disease which is causing global harm to the humanity and human rights. Everyone has been denied. For this, the world leader needs to know now that it is high time that they cannot now restrict to the boundaries and work for their own. They have to live and let live the other persons also. So this is very, very important aspect we need to address from its point as a. But there is no binding effect. Now things are changing, technology are changing, crimes are changing. Now they have no boundaries at all. For this, there is a need for the UNO to address all these issues and make the UNO resolutions more binding on countries which are the reason for any violations. But this should happen only when there is a consensus between all the participants in the UNO. Nevertheless, from Indian point, if you look at it, now Indian Constitution itself is a document of human rights. Part 3 and Part 4, you cannot find part. Similar to the one in American Constitution or any other constitution, we have directive principles and judgments of the Supreme Court. If you take it from 1950, how the human rights are protected from the judicial angle and from the law students' point of view, how important is that their role in protecting the human rights.
Sir, unmute yourself, sir.
ಸರ್ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್, ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಮತ್ತೆ. ಸರ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್, ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ.
Now it is clear?
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್, ಅದು ಯಾಕೋ ಆಗ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
Now, is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
Sir, video is turned off, sir.
Okay. Now, this is where now we look it from the point of the law students and the judiciary and legal fraternity. If you write from 1950, when the constitution was adopted and we formed a republic country, we found that the parliament, the constitution provided human rights by means of protection. Now, this is the country where not only rights are recognized, but they have been made fundamental and justiciable. Now, justiciable is enforceable before the court of law, like High Court and the Supreme Court. And this is how our constitution is endeavored to make human rights as the basic feature of the constitution and protection of everyone's right. Now, this is where right from contribution, and look at from the contribution point of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court from 1950 onwards, if you look at the judgments rendered by them, they are the milestones in protection of the human rights from day one to day one to take any the basic requirement of a man, whether it is a equal pay for equal work, whether it is education, whether it is women's rights, whether it is a child's labor work, or it is whether it is a right to education or professional colleges, or the any other fundamental right to expression. Everything from time to time, it has gone on confirming the right of the people of the country by elaborating and understanding the meaning of the fundamental rights as well as directive principle. You all remember now how even the directive principles were as if they are fundamental not only in governance, but also fundamental even for purpose of enforcing. Now, this is where, if you look at part 4 and part 4A, fundamental duties. Now, this is the contribution the legal fraternity has made to the country like India. Now, if you take some of the cases, like the Golaknath case, which was the first in kind, where they recognized the fundamental right of a person who should not be detained without authority of law and due process of the law. And thereafter, in the Keshavanand Bharati case, which is the one of the leading case to save the judiciary and the entire legal system by protecting not only basic structure, at the same time restricting the exercise of the parliamentary power and executive power. So it is not just parliamentary power for a person. It is a protection of every citizen's right under the part 3 of the Constitution. And thereafter, there were Minerva case or Maneka Gandhi's case, or Tata Cellular case, so on. Every field, if you look at every field, when it came to the woman's right to the maintenance, Shabanu's case, if it is reservation, then the Indra Sawhney's case. So various cases the Supreme Court decided. If you look back, what is the amount of contribution the Supreme Court has made? When Justice Bhagwati was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, a letter from a prison, which became the public interest litigation, and it started the new revolution in the judicial system by taking a letter as a petition before the Supreme Court under Article 32 to protect the rights of prisoners who have been tortured cruelly. And similarly, thereafter, there were many cases where the Supreme Court has gone beyond the limits to protect the human rights. So India is the leading country, if you look at from the judicial point or from the parliamentary point or the executive. India is the leading country which has taken the human rights so seriously in protecting their rights, whether it may be right to process or anything, even the diverse laws or everything. So till recently, you can see that even in the case of Talaq, how the changes were brought in, how the Supreme Court addressed these things, right to entry into the temple, everything, when the religious rights can subject to the constitutional fundamental right. So from point of legal studies, from the law students, the amount of the contribution that the judiciary makes to the protection of human rights, no other wing can make it. It is not just protection, but enforcing the human rights. But today, now if you take it the today's circumstances and today's conditions in India or elsewhere, now human rights can be enforced if they are violated. But today there is an economic loss, there is a social loss, there is a educational loss, there the child, the freedom of the expression, the freedom of movement is lost. Now these are all not because of somebody has done it, somebody is preventing you, somebody is restricting your right, but they are constrained. We are constrained to lose our own rights, not somebody in the country is doing, but some virus coming from outside the country and going around the globe and causing this. This pandemic has taught us a big lesson that unless you become globally one, unless you become globally governed by one means, one document, it is not possible to address such a situation. This pandemic has taught again a lesson that every country has to take responsibility to protect. If this is not done, then similar situation, we do not know in future what kind of the virus would be there, what kind of things will develop, what kind of people suffering will be there. So it is the borderless virus can enter into any other country, then there will be something else also can enter. So global organization is most important. Global organization for protection of human rights is right to live with dignity. Now, if you take Article 21, two words, the article life and liberty, Supreme Court is interpreted in such a way that everything, right to water, right to food, right to education, everything comes under that. Right to live with dignity. No need to elaborate on under the several judgments, but you can see that there is a need, not only thinking on climate change, there is a need also to address similar situations of pandemic entire world. You cannot race against each other. We cannot fight against each other, but globally we have to fight against such a virus, such a pandemic, such a situation which may not be known in what manner we can face in the future. So it is today the Human Rights Day, it assumes most important from the point of understanding our own rights and our own restriction and our responsibilities. It is not just understanding our responsibilities. Now take the article under the Constitution, that is 51, Article 51, capital A, that is a part 4A. Now we forget that we have only the fundamental rights, but there are fundamental duties also. We must address now in the pandemic, a lot of youths, lot of medical the practitioners, paramedical practitioners, police, karmacharis, several people risk their life. You do not know how many doctors have lost their life, how many persons have lost their life, not because of their own mistake, but in serving the people. So this is the situation where human rights are violated, not because they subjected to that, but because they served the other other person's right for other person's right. In such a cases, now recognition of such services is also equally important. Now, these all circumstances have taught us that today we need to not only live, but also see that our surroundings are also living with us. That means we owe a responsibility for everything that makes the person to live with dignity in his life. This is the object of the human rights, and this is not new. If you look at the 30 articles, everything is covered under the UN resolution, under the Human Rights Resolution 2017, 217. Now, all this is there on record, but has it served the purpose as of now? Now, it is not just making a resolution and keeping it. Resolution must be enforceable. But where is the country's cooperation? Where is the country's consensus on this enforcement? It is the biggest difficulty for the world to enforce. Now, despite of all peace talk, there are wars are happening. Despite of all the development, despite of all these things, there are violation of climate change, there are environment problem, there calamities are happening, all because of the development of the one country and at the cost of other country. These are all where there has to be a systematic, and geographically countries are arranged in such a way. One may be beneficiary, one may not be beneficiary, one may have a richer resources, one may not have richer resources. There is a need of mutual cooperation and sharing the resources. This is where the World Organization needs to think and make a global constitution which must be enforceable against any violation by any country or any person. So if you look at that from that point of view, when even the legislation of our country has contributed in such a way, particularly after 1990 onwards, there are a lot of laws which came enacted, laws are enacted to protect the human rights. It may be human right, woman's right, to child right, or the case of the employment, in case of the health. Today, everything has become fundamental. The child education, primary education is fundamental, health has become fundamental. Now everything is brought under the life and liberty, just not life and liberty, but liberty, life with dignity. So life to privacy, everything has come in. Now, as the judicial, from the judicial contribution, I only say that today pandemic has taught us a big lesson. Now, this pandemic has not only enabled us to take serious view on that, but each one is equally responsible for his contribution to the upliftment and development of the country, because we have gone back by economically, socially, which needs to be enhanced by our own contribution, by many angles, by many means also. So today we need to see that our lives are saved, then we need to see that the society is saved, then we need to see that everyone who is suffering is recovered, and for which we need to serve the society, thinking that it is our own person who is suffering. And that is the object of today's Human Rights Protection, Human Rights Day, International Human Rights Day, for the purpose of not celebration, for the purpose of understanding our own duties towards the other human being. So in the UNO, the United Nations has recognized the contribution made by the youths, contribution made by the health workers, contribution made by the karmacharis, everyone that is recognized. We wish that as soon as the sooner we get the vaccine, and the things will be better, and everyone will have a similar rights which are existing earlier and protected by means of the by means of environment and all other things, to protect not only our life, because every animal has also a right to live in its own territory, its own food, everything. Similarly, we need to see that the environment is equally protected. So these are all various circumstances which contribute and make that human rights celebration. Human rights celebration, not just to celebrate for a day, but it has to understand the human rights of the other person, and there should not be any denial of human rights in the name of any other, we will call it any name, but right to live, right to liberty, and live with dignity is the most paramount the requirement of the human rights. My wish that today the University Law College has taken it very seriously and has arranged such a wonderful program, though there was initial hiccups in starting the program. Nevertheless, I would say that as a law student, as a lawyer, as a judge, and as a upalokayakta, little I gained is that there is a duty on us to not to just protect the nature and protect ourselves and protect the neighbor. If you want to live happily, you must see that the other man is also living happily. That is what is needed. And today, together, if we fight, we succeed. And if we don't, then it is difficult. Mr. Nadagoda has given me such a wonderful opportunity to speak to you and express my little opinion on this occasion. And the program was really wonderful, and such a wonderful legal luminaries are there. And Professor Venugopal, an intellectual and academician, great academician, is also present here. It is always better to listen to him and views of him in a pandemic COVID-19, which will definitely help us to take our future in a better way. Thank you very much, Mr. Nadagoda. Thank you very
sir.
much. Thank you, all the students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for gracing the program and giving your valuable address, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I little whatever I have occurred to my mind, I spoke.
It was very interesting and very good, sir.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Anaha.
Thank you, sir, for the very informative, enlightening, and powerful speech. I would like to take this prestigious opportunity to introduce our beloved Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. K.R. Venugopal, sir. Sir is an IEE Fellow and ASEM Distinguished Educator for his contributions in the fraternity of computer science. He holds 11 degrees and 2 PhDs. He has authored and edited 72 books in computer science, engineering, and economics. I request Professor Dr. K.R. Venugopal, sir, to render the presidential address.
Good evening to all of you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening to all of you. So today is International Human Rights Day. Are we celebrating the International Human Rights Day, or we are just having a critical analysis of what is happening on this Human Rights Day across the world? You know, much earlier, about 3 centuries back, John Locke, the great English philosopher, he was talking about life, liberty, and poverty. Property, not poverty. Then, from the 16th and 17th century, we saw the type of societies which were exploiting other groups of people or other regions. And during the devastation of the First World War and Second World War, whether it is atrocities on Jewish communities, whether it is the loss of life in the First World War or Second World War, whether it is a slavery in USA, whether people trying to get food, adequate food requirements, whether food, clothing were available to the population, whether people were living with dignity, these were the issues which was confronting this world. So after the Second World War, the countries realized that instead of fighting, instead of waging wars, they should develop the dignity of life in an individual. So with that motto, they were able to enact this International Human Day on 10th December 1948. Now, how does this human right actually has been implemented? So when you talk about the human rights, we talk about the civil rights, we talk about the social rights, we talk about the economic rights, we talk about the political rights, we talk about the cultural rights. whether this has been given to the citizens of this world. See the development that has taken place in our country. The social rights that were available in this country 2000 years back, during Mahabharata and Ramayana, where women could choose their husbands in Swayamvara. After 3000 years later, we are talking about the social right protection of women and child labor. We are talking about the rights of women, atrocities on women. That is 3000 years later. But after 1948, when we enacted our constitution and Article 21 and Article 23, we see the number of these international human rights in the form of the articles in our constitution. And that credit should go to Dr. Babasaheb B.R. Ambedkar. When he has been able to see these international human rights, he has been able to incorporate the articles that are present in UK, USA, Switzerland, and even in European countries. And that's what you see in the form of a constitution in this country. It has come through directive principles. It has come through the right to education. And the second most important thing which we have seen in this country is a democratic country. When you have democracy, most of your rights will be there with you. Being the largest democracy, largest democratic country in the world, most of these rights are available under this democratic form of government. So when you have right to vote, you have right to freedom of expression, right to freedom of property, right to freedom of protest, right and fundamental duties which accompany this right, that is encompassed in our constitution, makes us very robust and makes us one of the fundamental important countries in the world where we have contributed to this international human rights. It can be Nelson Mandela fighting for the rights in South Africa, or it can be as old as Swayamvara in our country. We have been in the forefront of allowing people, making people to live a life with dignity. You see the right to information, which has been enacted in this country. We have now right to information commission in every city, the state headquarters. That has revolutionized International Human Day, international human rights. If you see Lokayukta and Upiya Lokayuktas in every state, that has revolutionized international human rights. If you see what, as Justice Subhash Adi was talking about, it is whether triple talaq or right to property in Kashmir. It is that we want to provide each and every citizen the basic rights that is enshrined in our constitution, which has roots in international human rights or the UN Charter in the Article 1 to 30. Whatever is there in that international human rights, Article 1 to 30, we have seen most of them in our articles under the Constitution. This human rights is irrevocable. It is universal. It is inalienable. It is dynamic. And that's what we are seeing in our country. When, for example, Justice Subhash Adi was there, when my Lokayukta case was there, about a student being given attendance. Then Justice Subhash Adi said, what is this attendance? And why is this man suffering from 10 years? Sir, it is because of such type of institutions and such type of honesty and sincerity practiced by you that I came out of that incident of Lokayukta, for where I missed becoming Vice Chancellor for 10 years. So you can imagine how small things even cannot be restored or given to a person. And I am really grateful that today I'm meeting you on this virtual platform to really, pay my tribute and gratitude to
No, sir, that
whatever
was
you
my
have done.
duty. That was my duty, sir.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. How a person can just, you must have that presence of mind. You must have that commitment and dedication. And that's what I find in you. And that when you have more and more people in this country, that is international human rights. That's what I wanted to, initiate. And following these principles in your life, throughout your life, and personalities like you and many personalities like you in this country has kept these human rights alive, and that they have restored the dignity of life in this country much better than the 170, 180 countries in this world. That's why even if you talk about why Hillary Clinton could not get elected, this is because of a bias. It is that the women should not be elected. But we were not like that. Women is the greatest creation of God, and we have given them the highest position in our ancient days from then to now. It is only some aberrations which take place in a country of 1.3 billion people. We only try to exaggerate that atrocities which are committed, but I feel still the number is very, very, very small compared to type of atrocities that are committed in other countries. It is because we respect a human being. We respect that every human being should live with dignity. That's why we have never attacked any country. The number of attacks that has taken place on this country is more than the total number of attacks that has taken place on any other country. That is because we are peace-loving people. We respect, we honor, and that's what is there in the blood of each and every Indian citizen. So we are celebrating, or we are doing an analysis today on the International Human Rights Day. So it is both a celebration and introspection. Thank you for us. Thank you to Professor Justice Adi sir that you have been with us today. And I'm very glad that I have been able to express this after 14 years, after you have given that judgment on my case. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you. It is an eye-opener because I wanted to tell how a person can change and, mitigate the sufferings of common citizens in this country. Thank you, sir. Thank you one and all for giving me an opportunity to address you.
Thank you for wonderful opinion.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for gracing the program and a very enlightening address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words and constant guidance for all our endeavors. As we come to the end of today's program, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the dignitaries for gracing this occasion. I request Professor Dr. Dashrath, the Chairman, Department of Studies in Law and Dean Faculty of Law, Bangalore University, to propose the vote of thanks.
Very good evening, all of you, and wish you a very happy Human Rights Day. Most respected Speaker of the day today, Honorable Mr. Justice Subhash B. Adi sir, most respected Honorable Vice Chancellor of Bangalore University, Professor Dr. K.R. Venugopal sir, respected Principal of University Law College and Department of Studies in Law, Professor Suresh V. Nargowdar sir, respected Professor Dr. V. Sudesh sir, respected members of the teaching faculty, Dr. Satish Gowda ji, Dr. Chandраkanti ji, Dr. Jyoti Vishwanath ji, members of the guest faculty, research scholars, students, most respected alumni of this great institution, student friends, ladies and gentlemen. What a wonderful day today, and what an important day today for having been graced by two human beings, a true human beings, which are who are there in midst of this great day today. Professor Sudesh B. Adi sir, whom I have been known from long time. May I recollect your memories, sir? Me and Professor Sudesh B. Nadgowda had come to your chamber when you became Deputy Lokaयुಕ್ta for inviting you
Yes,
for
sir.
elaborating the legal awareness and legal literacy programs.
Yes, sir, I do remember.
You were very active in these type of programs, and you have supported our college in organizing these type of programs for creating legal awareness and legal literacy for the masses in the rural areas, which I was there connected for more than 15 years in our college. Your speech today is highly informative, well received, and after you assume the position of the Pollution Control Board and the Green Tribunal, its relevance and importance has been increasing to address the problems that are coming ahead due to environmental degradation. Sir, what I remember today and make all of you to know today, the great transformation that has happened on this universe is that there is a sense of recognition of human rights of the lowest members of the society. Why this so? Why I say no? Why I say so is that, can you imagine in our own country, the head of the government, the Honorable Prime Minister, could speak on the ramparts of the Red Fort on the occasion of address to the nation on 15th of August, expressing appreciation for the work done by the persons like the persons who drive the ambulance and take the COVID patients to the hospitals, people involved in sweeping work, people involved in healthcare, ASHA workers, Anganwadi workers. Who spoke about them, sir? Who thought about them, sir? So this is the change and transformation which I could see about the human rights, that the head of the government of a nation, not only in India, in many heads of the government of the nations and head of the states, who appreciated these low-lying workers and have pleaded again and again that these low-lying workers' rights are to be protected, saved. People should respect them. So our Honorable Vice Chancellor said our Samskriti is to respect. So that has been endorsed recently in the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic, sir. On behalf of Bangalore University, University Law College and Department of Studies in Law, we express our full thanks for your gracious presence on the very historic, important day, the Human Rights Day, sir. I am extremely thankful to you, sir. Justice
Thank you very much.
Adi, sir.
Thank you very much.
Who else could be the best speaker of the day today, other than our Honorable Vice Chancellor? I have been associated to my university from past more than 25 years, and I have seen number of Vice Chancellors who are on the office. But sir, just I am saying not to appreciate, but the true fact I am saying, sir, we had never seen such a hard-working Vice Chancellor in our Bangalore University. He is 24/7 Vice Chancellor. I had never seen any Vice Chancellor who addressed the full teaching staff of this Bangalore University. Never I had seen in my 26 years of service. Honorable Vice Chancellor was very successful in making possible for addressing almost 99% of the members of the teaching staff through online platform. And this I had never seen, sir. And he is a true human being and understands the problems, solves the problems to the greatest possible extent. Sir, on behalf of the Bangalore University, University Law College, and Department of Studies in Law, I profusely thank you for being the guest and also gracing the occasion as the president of this function and presided over the function. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, and all the staff members, Principal Nadagaudar, then Sudesh, then the Dashrath, Satish Gowda, Chandrakanti, then Jyoti, and the chief guest of this function, Justice Subhash Adi. Thank you, one and all, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your gracious presence. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dashrath, Naragoda, Venugopalji, and all students and staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So I thank all the members of the teaching staff, Professor Principal, Sureshwi Nadagaudar, Professor Sudeshvi, members of the teaching staff, members of the alumni, research scholars, students, and friends. Thank you very much for joining this program and making it a very grand and remarkable success. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Namaste, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now more than ever, we are called to make true the words of the Declaration of Human Rights. We need to answer that call for us and for our future generations whose lives are shaped by the work we do today. It is with great hope that we can envisage, no matter how long the road ahead is, human perseverance would transcend. And with this, we conclude today's celebration. I would like to thank the principal and all the faculty members of University Law College and Department of Studies in Law for giving me this prestigious opportunity to host this program. Thank you, everyone, and have a